Hey guys, I just wanted to say this video is just gonna be me having some images in the background, and we're just gonna be discussing them. So before I start, I would like to discuss what this video is about. No, it's not clickbait. They did officially announce the dungeon that's happening, either 1 or 2 updates after dungeons. And that update is the Abyss. They are adding a new after dungeons and all of that is done. The development team is planning to implement a new place called the Abyss, and it's basically going to be the new kind of water biome, I guess. I feel like they also would use the snow, but water works too. Based on the evidence I have, I'm saying it's going to be a water biome, probably in some sort of underwater cave system, something like that. Based on the fact it has abyss darkness, and based on past references. Whenever you look up the Abyss, if you look up the Abyss movie, it's about some guys strapped on an oil rig. I feel like an oil rig could also happen. I feel like some of the main bosses might be Guardians, Elder Guardians, maybe even Withers, because Abyss, Wither skeletons, stuff like that. Even though it is already in the Nether, it also does relate to Darkness, the Abyss, coal, all of that. I also said probably some, darker, either blue, like light blue, or some maybe like black colored mobs with armor for mobs. Sorry, like some darker colored, just to represent the abyss. It's supposed to be a dark place, a dangerous place. Yeah. So I will actually be back in a minute once I have all of the, once I switch over to capture all of the images. I have 3 main pieces of evidence so far. Yeah. So again, they're at the moment it seems like this abyss update will be related to dungeons, as in they will visit stuff for dungeons to prepare for the abyss. But other than that, the abyss is going to be its own separate update. It's going to be probably a large scale one, based on what they're saying about bosses. So yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, so now let's start with the evidence that I feel most compelling. So I'm starting with what I see when I look at the forums post. The first thing I see is sponge armor. This is another set that needs to shine one day. This part right here is what I feel is the most important out of this, because even though it does get an extra 100 defense, and that translates to 200 defense while in water, it says one day it will shine and get content to shine. So I believe that day would be the Abyss, and that's one of the reasons that I'm pushing towards the Abyss as some sort of thing where at least there's a large portion within or underwater. Still deciding which one though, depending on the evidence. So that's sponge armor, not the biggest evidence, just another thing. It says while in or underwater. That's also another thing. Again, in or underwater one day. Probably the Abyss, just relating it. Then we have the diver armor. Again, the Abyss, this is what originally says it. The defense and HP makes me think that these will be some tankier bosses than normal, than we're used to. That it's the diver armor is just, it's going to be one of the best sets that they're focusing on it, and just sets in general. So, I mean, also epic to legendary probably, again, means that it's going to be a great set, that they're going to not really add too much that's better than it, because it is legendary, and as legendary, it should be some of the highest tier armor. Okay, then we have the fishing, then we have this right here. These are 2 changes. The top one is fishing rods. This one, the telekinesis, I feel like it's just to make it better, to make it so that it matches up with, the difficulty with the other, like all the other things have the same difficulty, like mining, combat, all of those, because those have telekinesis. At least this one you can get collections a bit faster. Also, triple damage. This makes me think that the Abyss might have some sort, or the Abyss either will have some sort of fishing area, which seems very likely. I feel like maybe underwater fishing would be fun. It also makes me think that they're going to add some more fishing skill, which will make it so that you can get more things. Secondly, is angler armor, similar thing. They're going to probably buff fishing. They're also going to make it so that I think angler armor will be one that you want to use more, because they got rid of the health, but they buff the defense. So again, it might be something that does a lot of damage, but it's not like true damage. It's just, it does damage in general. Also, every fishing skill level gives an extra 10 HP. I feel like this is also another, we'll talk about this later, but this is a push for them to, bring up the skill. You don't want to just get the skill so you can get the items. You want to get the skill so you can improve your armor, even if you bought the items. This is one of the most compelling ones in my opinion, Ink Wand. I'm quickly checking on Minecraft, but the Ink Wand is a rare sword. It's considered. It's not considered like a special item. It's not considered a bow. It's not considered a tool of some sort. It's not considered just the grappling hook is just uncommon. No, this is a rare sword. So I feel like they're going to increase the damage because it's only plus 10 damage, and they're also going to better the ink bomb because at the moment it's 30-second cooldown. For 60 mana you deal 50 damage and give blindness. Not that good unless they also do buff blindness. I also feel like this might, I'm still deciding, it's either going to be, I feel like it's either going to be the Abyss update, or it might also be Dungeons, because they might tie in the Abyss into Dungeons, or they might set up for the Abyss in the Dungeons update, just because we have been waiting like 6 months for the Dungeons update. So now let's move on to Shredder. They say it's kind of a buff because it does the damage, because this is to, again, all of the fishing rods. I don't know if this was from the original when they were thinking about it or what, but the aim is to make the Shredder a viable option. So that also means they're trying to balance out all of the swords, all of the bows, all of the pickaxes, all of them, so that they're all great for combat. They're all great for using them for their normal use as well, for their special bonus or for their special attack or something. So yeah, that's what I feel. Just looking at this, I would say Shredder, they didn't bother changing it to an epic, so I'm saying still going to be the best, or at least the top 2 fishing rods. They might add another fishing rod that's like another boss drop or another super hard craft. But I'm guessing Shredder is still going to stay as one of the most viable methods to fish. It's going to be the best fishing rod still. Nothing's going to change with that. Then we have this huge blurb. So let's look at it starting from here up. So Skyblock has a large variety of content options, and items are being rewarded many different ways. This basically talks about how the diver armor was the strongest armor in the game the moment it came out. It turned fishing into a huge, great strategy, but when they released like dragon armor, fishing didn't become as, great and strong and viable as a way to make money or anything. So they say fishing became a lot less interesting. So what they learned is that the content in the game has to be relevant, and it has to be unique, and it has to be content that can't be bought. So what that means is they're going to, again, focus on skills. So you want to upgrade it yourself. You don't want to just buy it while focusing on a certain thing. They also do want to make it so that all of the different things are balanced. So like if you focus on combat, you won't get more, great loot than if you were to focus on, say, mining or fishing. They all have great loot. There just might be some different areas. Again, this part is also really interesting to me. So player versus entity rewards the best armors. The term combat refers to any tier of public boss, either magma dragon or magma boss dragons, or right here this question mark. I'm guessing this is where Abyss comes in. The next time they release a much stronger public boss, it will have the next set of strongest armor and stuff. I feel like that's really important. Let me actually check. Might have forgotten something. Oh, sorry. So the transition. I'll actually check. Do I have this? Yeah. So this is the next thing we'll talk. I might have missed it. I'm not sure, but basically, he also says the Slayer fishing reward should not be the best combat gear unless they are used in specific contests. For example, the Abyss for next year. They announced officially the Abyss is going to be next year. They announced right here. I'll talk about that in a minute. But they also talk about how after Dungeons, this transition to the next tier will shortly be released. So this makes me think, release date wise, I'm guessing January, February, or March, probably late, at the earliest, late January is when we'll start seeing signs of it. Because they're going to have dungeons, I'm guessing no later than, like, New Year. I'm guessing some around, like, Christmas, New Year, that time, is when they'll have dungeons update. Just because they have been teasing it for so long. Then I'm guessing, like, February, March, maybe April will be the Abyss. Because I feel like the Abyss isn't completely changing it, it's just buffing fishing. It's supposed to dungeon adding completely new concept. So yeah, again, they're trying to balance it out. So PvE combat, I feel like maybe the Abyss might be part of it. We might have, say, some sort of super sea monster or something. I feel would be cool is if they added, like, a Titan. Some sort of Titan. Like, that would be, like, a giant in, like, leather, say, some sort of leather armor. Say it's black leather armor or dark gray leather armor. That'd do the Abyss. The Abyss is darkness, black. You're underwater, you can't see anything. That'd be where the giant comes in full black. It's huge. It's like, I would say if there was, like, a giant squid in Minecraft, that would be it, or something like that, but there is none. So I feel, yeah, for most likely something like giant boss. Because I don't know what else it could be. Because we already have magmas. Then we won't go up to dragons. So unless they want to do a wither, but at that time, it really wouldn't be that nice. Because it would just be, magma cube. Yeah, you don't see that often. Dragon, yeah, they have different types of dragons. But what would they do for, like, a wither? So yeah, that's how I feel. Then there's collections. Those are early to mid game, and some few late game alternatives, and a few late game alternatives. They also reward mostly upgrades such as ender chest, accessory bag, stuff like that. I feel like that's balanced. They're not going to change it that much. Skills will reward their own niche. The mining skill will focus on reforges. Enchanting will unlock new enchanting options. I feel like they already have this a bunch for fishing in terms of what you can get when you pick stuff when you fish. At the same time, I feel like they might add a bit more. Don't feel like that's that related. Slayer content will reward the best bows, scorpion bow, mosquito bow, those type of stuff. Those are the ones being rewarded from it. Then we have dungeons. Dungeons will reward the strongest item modifiers in the game. I'm still confused as to what they mean item modifiers though, because the only thing I can think of is maybe hot potato books and runes and stuff like that, except that do, like, more for the damage itself. It also says they will compete with the best melee weapons. So this means, again, the whole, armor thing, stronger armor set, that thing that they're going to be adding in the future, right there, that's not from Dungeons. Dungeons is not there. If we go over to here, I don't have the right part of it, but it basically is Slayer, fishing, all of that. Shouldn't be the same as combat gear. Shouldn't be the same level. Because they should all be balanced. All of the different skills, all of the different things you can do, all of the different islands, all of them should be balanced. Because you want to go to all of them. You don't want to focus on one, make money, use that. You don't need to do anything. So their current plan is to release the Abyss sometime during the next year. And it's a very exciting project. So based on the fact that by I think it was mid-September they originally started talking about it. By mid-September they already had the plan for it. So I'm guessing at the latest, right before summer break starts, would be the latest possible, like early June. Maybe like early June would be the late May, early June, latest possible I can imagine it happening. It might happen later. I'm guessing not, unless they do add a bunch of big mini updates. Like if they were to add more of the foraging island updates, because the park update was pretty big. It completely changed everything. If they're doing more like that, then maybe. But for now, just they're probably, I say Abyss sometime early next year. Then they might add something, because they might just bring it down to 2 updates a year, especially because Hytale is supposed to release, I think, 2021, 2022. They're going to want to focus on that. Focus on, along with, they've been focusing on this game a lot. Skyblock has probably gotten like half of the updates recently from compared to everything else. So yeah, they're definitely going to be rolling out these updates, but I'm guessing slowing down period. And also the Abyss, the big update, the big future, probably not going to be released until, I'd say, March, April, maybe May, maybe late February at the best. Probably could still be released a different time, but we still need to give them but probably not until at least another, say, like 0.8.5 is released or something like that. So I'd say a couple months in, at least like 3, 4, maybe 5 months into next year, you probably will be seeing the Abyss update. My guess it's going to be something focused on underwater, on caves, on darkness, stuff like that. Gonna have a brand new big boss, better than magma cubes, better than dragons. The new armor set is going to be way better, and people are going to be focusing on fishing as it comes up. So yeah, those are my predictions based on the evidence. My five or six pieces of evidence right here. We have the sponge armor, diver armor, fishing rods, angler armor, ink wand, which this one really important. They didn't even bother saying what they're going to revise. They went out of their way to say they will revise it though. So yeah, that's definitely going to be revised in the future. I'd say maybe grind for that if you have the time. And then we also have Shredder, somewhat of a buff. They don't know. It's more so to all fishing rods, like I said over here. Then we also have how they talk about PvE versus collections versus goes versus Slayer versus dungeons. And we also have that they said that they're going to balance everything, not have Slayer or fishing being the best, but they still will have some cool stuff. And that those items will be used in certain places, such as the Abyss, which will be the first fishing related island in the game. I say that's what I say. Not the first fishing related zone, because that would be where you get the clay in the beginning, but the first fishing related island definitely will be. That is my prediction, and that I am almost certain of, that it will be the first. Will be released in the first half of next year, and it will be the first fishing island, or at least hinted towards more. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I am Mentu Martyrs. Here to give you the best news I can. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out.